Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr. This is episode 297 of CryptoBiography, and it's part 4 of The Brick Wall, and here we go. He must have had an odd look on his face because she asked, "Is there someone you wanted to know about?" He laughed. "Well, yes, there's a little kid, and he seems to be connected to Jake. I think he brought me to Jake's attention." I know you're the one you mean. His name is Danny. He scrapes a living giving information to people. Sounds to me like he led Jake to you, which means Jake has feelers out for boxers, which makes sense if he's looking to make a whole business out of it. Carson was about to say something when Lydia held up a finger to interrupt. "Hang on. Danny wanted to show me something. I forgot, because we bumped into each other. But after that I didn't see Danny again. Makes me wonder why." Carson just shrugged. "If you run into him, I guess ask." Lydia had some beer, then asked, "What made you say yes to boxing?" "Jake made it sound like a good way to get out of the stable business. And into his." "Yes." "Have you hit people a lot in your life?" Carson shook his head. "Have you been hit a lot?" He shook his head again. "Well, not in fights, but I was a lineman for our football team. We did a lot of rough stuff." "Do you think you'll be good at it? I mean, yes, you're very large and clearly strong, but how will you learn to hit and how not to get hit?" "Jake has trainers. I'll pay attention." "Well, I hope they're good then." "I'll keep my eyes open. I plan on watching some bouts, see what I can learn." "Good. I know you're smart. You should use that." "Thanks." He found himself beaming. When she looked askance at him, he decided to clarify. "I always got good grades, but no one treated me as smart like you have. It feels good." "Oh, that's sweet, Carson. I guess I can understand that. Even my first reaction to you was to notice how big you are." "True, but your second one was to spot the book I was carrying." She smiled. "What do you like to read?" "Anything. Everything. Lots of novels, biographies, histories. You?" She smiled and glanced down. "Well, I'm not as much of a reader as you. I do like to take in an occasional novel, and I read the newspaper when I can get one. We'll have to compare notes. See if either of us are missing any great novels. And I like to read the newspaper, too." She nodded. "So, a library guy. Have you read up on boxing?" "No," he said, and was shocked he hadn't done just that already. "I haven't broken out of my habits. But you're right, there has to be some books on boxing, or fighting, or something." "I'm sure there are." "So what do you think about your neighborhood?" Lydia considered. "I think it's a lot nicer than its reputation. This has its rough areas, and not everyone is great, but by and large, people are decent." "I haven't had much time to learn the neighborhood. Would you like to show me around in the daytime?" This was his way of seeing if she wanted to see him again. "Sure, big guy," she said. "Tomorrow's good for me." "I'd like that." They fell into chit-chat, and a couple of hours later, they realized it was time to go. The crowd had changed, gotten a little rougher, and a lot drunker. They stepped outside into the still warm air, and it felt nice after the smoky, closed air of O'Shaughnessy's. Neither of them happened to smoke, so they enjoyed the relative cleanliness of the air. "It's late, and it's dark. May I take you to your front door?" he offered, extending his elbow. "Okay," Lydia said. "They grow them polite out on the farm, I see." "Of course," Carson said. "Which way?" It wasn't far. Like any time which one would rather stretch out, it went very quickly for Carson. "Good night, my clever colossus," she said, and gave him a quick hug. "I'll give you a proper introduction tomorrow. And how about we both go to the library and do some boxing research? Say 10 a.m.? "Sounds perfect," Carson said. "Good night." He turned and went down the stoop, but as he heard her opening the door of the building, he turned back. "Lydia, if you hadn't wanted to walk back with me, would you have been safe?" "Certainly," she smiled, and before he could blink, had brought a knife out, holding its blade straight up. "I'm a city girl. I can take care of myself." "You sure can," he agreed, grinning. "Good night." "Good night, big guy." The walk home was a blur of happy thoughts and ponderings. They met up at 10 and did a thorough research run through the library. They solicited the librarians for help as well. There wasn't a lot available, though they suggested the two of them go to the main branch downtown. That would have to wait another day, however. They tried the second closest library, barely within walking distance, but as that was another branch, it also didn't have much on boxing. They had a late lunch together, and Carson was constantly distracted by Lydia. She noticed. "Everything okay up there, big guy? Your eyes are flicking around like a firefly's." He smiled. "I'm very happy. Thanks for coming along with me. I'm enjoying your company very much. Right back at ya." They took a long walk back, not going directly home, but winding all around the borough, with Lydia pointing out places of particular interest and chatting about their lives. By the end of it, they were holding hands. They saw Danny towards the end of their walk. He seemed to notice them walking together. He smiled and then disappeared around a corner. "I think that settles it, to my mind," Lydia said. "What?" Carson said, who had hardly registered Danny's presence. "Danny. You saw him?" "Barely." "Yeah. Well, he was checking up on us, or at least had his eye out for us. And as soon as he saw us holding hands, he scurried off." "Yes. What does that mean?" "Well, you remember Danny wanted to show me something, but after I bumped into you, he kind of disappeared? I think he wanted to show me you. I think someone wanted us to meet." "Danny?" "No, he's the messenger. I'm guessing Jake Abernathy." "Why? What does he gain?" She stopped, and he stopped once their arms were stretched between them. He looked down, but it was as though he was looking up at her. "Think it through." He tried, but he was too distracted. He just wasn't on the same page she was. She was clearly trying not to roll her eyes in her frustration. "Jake wanted you boxing for him. You didn't have great prospects, but you had a job that could keep you alive, so if you didn't see a real need to better yourself, you might not take him up on it. Then he arranges you to meet a girl, and if you start dating, you'll want more money than the stable can provide. He just wanted you to have a bigger reason to join him." "Okay, but why you?" "Not sure." She thought about this. "My guess, he doesn't care if it was me, or anyone else. Any girl you decided you liked would do for his purpose. Maybe I wasn't even the first girl he, or Danny, or whoever else put your way. Maybe I was just the first one you noticed." "And why did Danny choose you?" She did something that surprised him. There in the afternoon sun, she blushed. "I guess I have a type," she confessed. "I've only dated 2 men, and the guys I liked in school, well, they were all tall and strong like you. Danny must have noticed, or maybe someone pointed this out to him." For the first time, she actually looked her short stature to him, just for a moment. He barked out a laugh. "Okay. Well, I guess I can't complain. I like you too. I don't know if I have a type or not, but I guess you're it." She giggled, shaking her hand. "Well, if we got together because of the finagling of a neighborhood creep, it'll make a fun story to tell the—" She cut off. He was sure of what she was going to say, but clearly they both felt it was too early to say such things. And that's the end of the story for this week. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm certainly enjoying writing it. Lots more to go. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, CryptoBiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Mastodon. And thanks for listening. Words and music, copyright 2023, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.